From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
A federal ban on evictions will soon come to an end. Now at 4:30, what you need to know if you're still waiting for assistance. Plus more hopeful news when it comes to a coronavirus vaccine. This morning, the very latest results from Moderna's trial and when its vaccine could be distributed. And today is Giving Tuesday. We're working for you with how to avoid being scammed when you open your heart and your wallet. Here at 4:30, I want to thank you for joining our team here on this Tuesday morning. I'm Lauren Casey. Our Todd Clausen is standing by with a check of our forecast for today. And Todd, luckily on my drive in, I didn't notice really any slick spots. It was still pretty dry on the roads, but that's not the case for people all over central Indiana.
Yeah, you know, it just really depends where you are. And it wasn't bad in downtown Indianapolis. You get just to the east in Greenfield and points even further towards Richmond, and there's snow on the ground and definitely the possibility of some slick spots. So just give yourself some extra time, especially if you're crossing off lots of miles here. Just know it's going to change across central Indiana. But radar this morning, nice and quiet. That is the good news for us. As we expand, you notice that all the snow is now off into Ohio. So if your travels take you into Ohio today, you are going to run into that. But with the exception of a couple flurries here or there in northern locations, we're not looking at anything additional as far as snowfall across the area, which is good news. Here's the bad news, though. It is cold out there this morning. We are in the 20s and 30s across the area. You factor in those winds that are still gusty, and it's putting wind chill values in the teens. 17 is what it feels like in Indy, 19 in Lafayette, so you definitely need to bundle up throughout the day. Any clouds this morning give way to partly sunny skies. The sunshine, though, not going to help the temperature, as highs will only top off, Lauren, in the low to mid 30s.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at your commute. This is I-70, a little east of State Road 9 out here in Hancock County. It looks like traffic is moving along up to speed through this area. Of course, we'll continue to monitor your conditions and keep you updated this morning. And just be aware, we do have some crews out there keeping an eye on those road conditions. I know I passed a few salt trucks on my commute, so just give them plenty of space if you have to see them out and about on your road. A federal ban on evictions is set to expire at the end of this month. While that order does not apply to all cases, there are local resources that can help. If you live in Marion County, you have until 5 o'clock Wednesday evening to apply for the rental assistance program. If you've already applied, you can check your application status by calling the number on your screen, 317-912-1260. You can also find more information on how to apply by going to indyrent.org. If you live in Indiana, but you're outside of Marion County, there's a different rental assistance program for you. Right now, those applications are being waitlisted. That website is indianahousingnow.org. Even with the federal ban on evictions, some landlords say they cannot wait on tenants to pay. Those cases are still heading to court and could make it harder for renters to get housing in the future. We spoke with Amy Nelson, the executive director of the Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana. She said along with some renters not receiving support in enough time to prevent an eviction, her organization has seen clients face several barriers through the federal program.
Another barrier that we've certainly heard about here locally in Indianapolis is also some landlords who refuse to participate in the program. So tenants may have been eligible for the rental assistance, but their landlord would not participate in the program. So then they end up being evicted or having, losing out on their housing for that reason as well.
Nelson says to reach out for help if you're having a hard time making ends meet and if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, or if you just need help figuring out if you qualify for the rental assistance. She also recommends getting legal advice if necessary. Meanwhile, evictions are blamed for contributing to the spread of COVID across the country. Researchers say people are being evicted and moving in with family and friends, and those interactions increase their risk of exposure to the virus. According to their findings, evictions from March to September led to 433,000 more cases of COVID-19 and more than 10,000 additional deaths. This morning, here's more hopeful news about a coronavirus vaccine. Moderna has now officially applied for emergency authorization. The company says it is 94.5% effective in all cases and 100% effective in preventing severe cases of the virus. Earlier this month, Pfizer also applied for emergency authorization for its vaccine. If both are approved, 40 million doses could be available by the end of this month. FDA regulators will hold their first meeting next week to start reviewing the vaccines. New data shows more than 36 newly reported COVID-19 deaths and thousands of new coronavirus cases in our state. State Health Department also reports an additional 38 COVID-related deaths. Those occurred between November 24th and the 29th. November proved to be the deadliest month for COVID-19, with more than 1,200 Hoosiers dying with the virus. To date, 5,456 Hoosiers have died with the coronavirus. State health officials also report 5,713 new COVID-19 cases in Indiana. A total of 338,977 people in the state have been diagnosed with the coronavirus since March. COVID-related hospitalizations are increasing across the state. At this hour, just over 3,400 Hoosiers are in the hospital with COVID or a suspected case of COVID. That's a new high. The 24% of the ICU beds remain available, and a little over 70% of our ventilators are still available around the state. This morning, there are more than 1,200 newly reported cases of COVID-19 across Indiana's schools. That brings the total number of student cases to nearly 12,000. There are also 679 new teacher and staff cases. Students between the ages of 10 and 19, which are mostly middle and high school students, make up about 80% of the student cases of COVID-19. As of this morning, 386 schools have not reported COVID-19 information to the state. It's also important to note that the state health department says schools that are fully virtual do not have to report their COVID-19 numbers. So these numbers are coming from schools that are still doing in-person learning. The time right now is 4:36. With all Marion County schools now virtual, IPS is offering help for families. They're expanding their student support network. The partner-run sites offer a safe and structured place for students who need a supervised environment for their children to learn remotely. Breakfast and lunch will also be provided. Registration is required. You can find a list of the local sites on myips.org. IPS is also expanding its free meal program. Families can now pick up food in the morning, afternoon, or evening. You can go to the district's website for specific times, days, and locations. And today is Giving Tuesday, and many people will be opening up their hearts and their wallets to give to good causes all across the world, but you do need to be careful to avoid getting scammed. If you want to make sure you're giving to the organization you attend, many scammers will send you a message via email, text, or through social media asking you to donate. So before you do, double check the website's URL to make sure it's legit. You can also check for misspellings, which can be a red flag. The Better Business Bureau says you should be cautious if the charity asks for unusual forms of payments like iTunes gift cards.
If you're going to do something online, always pay with your credit card, whether it's, you're buying something or in this case, giving. You're going to have the most protection. So watch out for gift cards, watch out for any wire transfers. If you do that, that money is almost immediately going to go outside the country.
Well, you can also run the charity's name through a website like give.org or GuideStar to see where your money will go. Well, there is just 1 week left to cast your votes to help get the Indianapolis Zoo to the top of the USA Today's 10 Best Zoo Lights list. This year is the zoo's 6th straight nomination. They've had 3 top 5 finishes, and they're hoping to take the top spot this year. You can vote once a day through next Monday, December 7th. We have a link to do that on WRTV.com. The winner will be announced December 18th. Christmas at the Zoo runs through December 30th. It will be closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And you can help make Christmas bright for Central Indiana kids by donating to the WRTV Toy Drive. Drop-off sites for new unwrapped toys are at U-Store locations all across Central Indiana. We'll also be collecting items at Indianapolis area Simon Malls this Saturday, December 5th. For more information, go to WRTV.com/Toy Drive. You can also find information there about making a financial donation. Well, 3 Muncie police officers accused of using excessive force will now have more time to prepare for their trial, straight ahead why a federal judge pushed back their court date. And some Republicans are worried that President Trump's criticism of Georgia's governor could hurt their chances of gaining Senate control. Straight ahead, the latest from Georgia as the high-stakes Senate runoff battle heats up. Todd?
And Lauren, the snow has come to an end across the area, but the wind is still gusty. But that too will start to diminish as the day goes on. But it's a northwesterly wind, and that's ushering in some very, very cold temperatures for the entire day today. We'll talk all about it coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast.
Well, Welcome back. We're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. We do have some snow, a little bit of snow here on the sides of the roads. If you look closely there, you can see the white under the guardrails. That's what fell yesterday, and it could create some slick conditions as it's really cold out there this morning. This is I-69, your State Road 38, all the way up in the Pendleton area. So if you're traveling areas to our north and east, just be aware of that. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated on your forecast and any other issues that you may run into on the roads this morning. Federal judge has granted a delay in the trial of 3 Muncie police officers indicted following an investigation into excessive force. The trial for Chase Winkle, Jeremy Gibson, and Joseph Kreisha was originally scheduled for February of next year. It's now been pushed back to September 2021. A federal judge said the officers must have time to prepare for the trial in light of the COVID-19 restrictions, and that outweighs their right to a speedy trial. Officers Chase Winkle, Jeremy Gibson, they're accused of using excessive force while making arrests in 2018. And in 2019, Sergeant Joe Kreisha was accused of writing false reports. They have pleaded not guilty. Let's go to Georgia now, where President Trump is taking on Governor Brian Kemp, criticizing him for not stepping in to overturn his election loss in that state as a recount is underway. The president calling Kemp a, quote, disaster and pushing for him to use his emergency powers to overrule the Secretary of State. Both Kemp and the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, are Republicans. A spokesperson for the governor responded to the criticism, saying that Georgia law prohibits the governor from interfering in elections. Now, some Republicans are worried that the president's attacks could undermine the motivation of Trump supporters to participate in the Senate runoff races.
There are those who are exploiting the emotions of many Trump supporters with fantastic claims, half-truths, misinformation, and frankly, they are misleading the president as well, apparently.
Raffensperger also says that a headcount audit proved no votes were switched and urged voters to participate in the runoff elections. Republicans need to win at least one of the 2 runoff elections to retain their majority in the U.S. Senate. It is 4:44. Canada has issued an order barring the bulk exportation of certain drugs outside of the country if it would cause or worsen a shortage within Canada. The move throws a wrench into President Trump's bid to lower prescription drug prices. Importing drugs from abroad, Canada in particular, is a centerpiece of the president's plan to reduce drug prices in the U.S. President-elect Joe Biden has also expressed interest in letting consumers import drugs from other countries, provided the federal government deems them safe. With the success of Pfizer and Moderna's COVID trials, there could be a change in how vaccines are made in the future, and it has to do with how they work. The vaccines use what's called messenger RNA technology. The virus's genetic code is injected into the body so it can instruct cells on what antibodies to produce. Health experts say if the RNA vaccines are approved, it could be a major breakthrough for other diseases and viruses.
The RNA vaccine has been tried for other infectious diseases, and also they have been investigated for cancer. There's the whole area of trying to vaccinate against cancer, which has kind of been an elusive target.
A big question with an RNA vaccine is how long its protection will last. While there are encouraging findings, there's no historical comparison to look at. Hair today, gone tomorrow, and fellas, if you can do that, shave your facial hair that is, McDonald's will give you a free McRib. All you have to do is tweet a pic of your clean-shaven face with the hashtag #ShaveForMcRib sweepstakes and tag McDonald's. The first 10,000 will get a code for a free McRib to order through Uber Eats. If you aren't one of the lucky winners, you just have to wait until tomorrow when the McRib makes its official return. At 4:46, let's get a check of our forecast right now. And Todd, it is frigid out there.
Yeah, it's the first real big wide-set blast of cold air, and wait until tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning's temperature, Lauren, is the coldest one I have in my forecast. And you can see our camera here, and there's a little ice sitting on it with the moisture that's left over from yesterday, combined with temperatures now below freezing. We sit at 29 right now in Indianapolis. But here's the issue, the wind. We told you it was going to kick up yesterday, and it's been pretty strong here throughout the overnight hours as well. I know I woke up a couple times with the wind whipping past my house and in between my neighbor's house, and it makes it feel like 17 degrees right now, and wind chills are very cold all across the area, with actual temperatures that range from 24 in Richmond to 28 in Greencastle. 26 is the current temperature in Terre Haute, and Bloomington right now sitting at 28 degrees. And here's how it really feels, though. It feels like 20 in Bloomington. A lot of teens out there as far as wind chill values go, with the coldest one being 16 degrees as you make your way into the Peru area. So definitely hats and gloves are required as you walk out the door, especially if the kids do have to head off to the bus stop here this morning. As far as the wind goes, though, it will start to subside as the day goes on, but it's still going to be a west to northwesterly wind even as it starts to calm, and that's going to prevent us from warming much at all throughout the day today. Even with sunshine, our temperatures are only going to get back up into the low to mid 30s for your afternoon highs. But thankfully, we really don't have to contend any longer with snow across the area. Again, we had some minor accumulation, especially off towards the east and then to the north. Not much of anything in Indianapolis. In fact, officially at the airport yesterday, the National Weather Service recorded just a trace of rain. If you're in locations like Peru, even over into Marion, Hartford City, there could be a flurry or two that starts to sneak in here during the course of the morning hours, but the bulk of the accumulating snow, as you see now, is well off to our east through Ohio and then western Pennsylvania. And here's that flurry chance that continues into mid-morning, and then they basically will just slide off to the east as the winds start to relax. This evening, sunsets at 5:21. Temperatures quickly fall back down into the 20s after sunset. And look where we are tomorrow morning. 20 for your actual temperature in Peru, 22 in Indianapolis, about 20 in Bloomington. Wind chills tomorrow morning, pretty much widespread teens for everybody. And then throughout the day tomorrow, we do start a bit of a warming trend with lots of sunshine and temperatures that will be in the 40s. While the temperatures start to moderate in the afternoon into the 40s, the overnight lows will be below freezing at least for the next 7 days. So it's a very chilly but a very dry start to the month of December, Lauren, as we don't have any more precipitation heading our way at least into the middle of next week.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out the door this morning. This is a look in the downtown area, I-65 and I-70 at the North Split. This is a view of I-70s just east of the North Split, and you can see traffic here is moving along up to speed. No major issues to slow you down. Again, watch for those slick spots on the roads as you're heading out the door this morning. So Felicity Huffman is ready to make her return to acting. The 57-year-old is starring in a new pilot commissioned by ABC. The Untitled show stars Huffman as a widowed woman who inherits her husband's baseball team. It was inspired by Susan Savage, who owns the AAA baseball team, the Sacramento River Cats. Huffman served 11 days of a 2-week prison sentence last October for admitting that she paid someone to correct her daughter's SAT answers. It was part of a larger scam that also saw fellow actress Lori Loughlin convicted. Loughlin is still serving her prison sentence. 16-year-old actress Marsai Martin has a new Guinness World Record. She's the youngest Hollywood executive producer ever to work on a major production. Martin, who is known for playing Diane on ABC's Blackish, technically broke this record in 2019 as a result of her work on the film Little, but she wasn't officially declared a record breaker by Guinness until now. On top of producing the film, Martin also played a lead role in Little alongside actors Regina Hall and Issa Rae. She also reportedly pitched the idea for the film herself when she was just 10 years old. Today marks Rosa Parks Day. On this day 65 years ago in 1955, Parks was sitting in the colored section of a bus in Montgomery, Alabama on her way home from work. When the bus filled up, the driver told Parks she needed to stand so white passengers could sit. She refused and was arrested. Her act of defiance helped spur the Montgomery bus boycott, which lasted several months and devastated the city's transportation system. It also helped thrust civil rights into national headlines and is credited with helping eventually to end segregation. Parks was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1996. She passed away in 2005 at the age of 92. She was the first woman and just the second black person to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. A lonely Asian elephant from Pakistan has a new lease on life. Coming up, how a pop icon helped to save him. And the pandemic is taking its toll on young people in the Hoosier State. Coming up all new at 5 o'clock, results from a new study that shows increasing suicide rates and what's being done to help. It's 4:51. We'll be right back. It is 4:55. The world's loneliest elephant will soon have some new friends, and it's all thanks to music icon Cher. Kavan was loaded into a box and later onto an aircraft flying to an animal sanctuary in Cambodia, joining the other elephants there. Cher and her animal group Free the Wild, plus the animal welfare group Four Paws, lobbied for the solitary elephant to be liberated from his lonely existence in a poorly maintained zoo in Pakistan. The whole relocation mission cost about $400,000. Back here at hometown, we got to get a look at our forecast, and I feel like today's the first day I've thought it's really cold walking into work.
You're right. Wind chills are in the teens. We haven't been down there too often, at least widespread like we are this morning, Lauren. So far this late fall, early winter season. One thing that you do notice in our 7-day planning forecast, no precipitation. It's a dry stretch of weather. Today's cold. Tomorrow morning is really cold as the actual temperature gets down to 22 degrees. But then we're in the 40s all the way through the weekend, which is only a couple degrees below normal with the sunshine. Shouldn't be all that bad, but the morning lows still remain very chilly, going below freezing each and every one of those mornings all the way into the middle of next week. The time now is 4:56. Coming back at 5 o'clock when Raphael joins Lauren and I. We hope to see you then.